Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment. I'm gonna run through this really fucking quickly because I feel like if I don't let this go, this is gonna constantly be on me and I won't be able to do proper readings afterwards because I don't know, just like in general. So if you are someone who is on witch talk, or you're seeing stuff about like witches on TikTok, or watching videos on Spellwork, or going on Pinterest to find different types of spells and money spells and conjuring spells and all that stuff, okay? Little PSA. One, most of the magic that we have on Earth is under heavy illusion, guided, guarded, all that stuff, okay? So you're not the first person to play with magic, and I really want to bring that to your perspective as a human being. You're not the first person to play with magic, okay? America was built on the grounds of occultism, okay? On the very fucking ground that it was built upon was occultism, right? When they came in here, they removed all the people, moved all the stuff around, cleared out the ground, and you know what they did? Magic. They did occultism, they put it all together, money rituals, all that you want, okay? Same thing happened in the rest of the world. In fact, half the disasters that we had in the world was due to magic, okay? This is gonna be, I'm just gonna bring this out there and put it like a little PSA, okay? No matter how much you want to put like death spells or bad spells or all this negative stuff and all these spells, they're not going to work, okay? Because that is a trap. It is a trap for you to use those spells, for you to say those words, for you to invest in that. It's a trap because you're not getting anything. You're literally giving your energy to something that wants that energy. Whoever wrote those posts, whoever wanted that magic, whoever wanted you to use that spell work, they're getting your magic. They're getting your energy. So whoever makes all these bottom line spells, they are getting your energy, okay? That's why these things get lots of views. That's why people want to use it all the time. That's why it's like a pyramid scheme. It's the same concept everywhere else, okay? Two, if you're not setting the right intentions and you're not praying and you're not like actually activating those magic portals within your body so that you're capable and well known about these types of subjects, then you're going to fail numerous times because you need to learn your lesson. God loves you, God loves everyone, but if you're not careful, you will literally go to hell, even if that means that you have to learn your lesson there, even if it means that you're innocent. It does not matter how many times you want to use spell work. If you're not ready to use it, and if it's not your magic, then you will fail. That's a hardcore promise. Okay, that's why they say things like no weapons formed against me shall prosper. That's also spell work. Okay, reading books, reading words, reading things, just reading in general is also spell work. You use your eyes to be able to read these pages and read these words, and they are engraved into your mind, whereas you start using that kind of content so that you can be able to produce and manifest. If it's not your type of manifestation, if it doesn't fit into your body, you will fail. Okay, and this is just like in anything, in like divination, watching through a magic glass, you could be getting fooled. No matter how much you look into that magic glass, no matter how much you look into that magic mirror to see whatever you want to see, it all depends on your magic, your mind, your intentions. It all matters where you're from, how you grew up, how clean your soul is, how purified you are. All that stuff is important. It doesn't just matter that you saged your house a little bit and now you're just all better to use some kind of magic spell. No, playing with things like tarot, playing with things like with Ouija boards, playing with things like word spells, runes, all that stuff. If you're not ready for it, if they're not guided to it, and you just use it based off of your intentions that aren't purified, then you will fail, and not only that, you will suffer. It is a thing. It is a thing. Being afraid of people who use magic is also a thing, okay? So people who do spell work, people who use magic, okay, if you're afraid of them, it's probably because you're unaware and you're not tapped in. Okay, now for these people who are using spell work and magic and they still have all these demons and fears and all these things, that will manifest first. So Find out where your boundaries and your priorities are before you start using Spellwork and using Magick, because you're not going to realize that there are other things that are actually making you use that kind of Spellwork. Okay, same thing with like insulting people or wishing death on people, or literally just doing something in order to manipulate a situation. That's magic. Okay, when you write words and you're picking from your subconscious brain all those words, okay, that's magic. Okay, you waking up in the morning to pray and thank God, that's magic. Everything you do is magic. Okay, that's why we can't be afraid of ourselves. That's why we can't be afraid of what we're capable of, because if we are afraid of it, then it's gonna manifest first. I just need to like mention that, because there's so much talk about, oh, black magic, this person's putting spell work on you, this person's doing that on you, oh, this person is yeah, they might be, but that's gonna backfire on them. That's why we're not allowed, we don't fear things. We're not allowed to fear, because fear is an entity. Doubt is an entity. Worry is an entity. That's why we say these words. They are entities. They're energies. They are vibrational frequencies, lower vibrational frequencies that will drag you down, because they need to balance out their energy and their negative energy, okay? Because then when you go lower and lower and lower, that's how you get to murder. That's how you get to genocide. That's how you get to like all this negative. That's how you get there, because you're spiraling lower and lower. Money magic, all that stuff like that, it already exists, okay? People have been doing this for so long. That's why I talk about generational curses. That's why I talk about generational karma, because your words are important. The way you see and view reality is important, because that's magic. Consciousness, all that stuff, magic. Fire, magic. It all is the same frequency. Okay. Because people might not understand how you do something, so they just label it as magic. But if you dive deeper into the reasoning behind magic and stuff like that, do your own research, you find out about alchemy. You find out about production. You find out about like realization. Because there's always an opposite to something. There's always an opposite side to something. If you're not called to divination, just don't do it until, like, you will be called to it at some point. At some point, you need to realize the magic within your own power, literally your own power. When you write every day, what you draw, what you see, what you watch, that's you're invoking. When you call out and say, oh my God, oh Jesus, oh Lord, that's invoking. That's why you don't use God's name in vain. That's why you don't know God's name. It can't be much of a difficult task. Because if you now go on Witch Talk or TikTok or see all these like people, oh, you want to dress like me, you want to look like me, that's literally your comparison. You've already failed. You've already failed. When you start worrying about someone, oh, I need to protect myself from this person because this person might be using magic, you've already failed. Because we're all mirrors of each other. Oh, now I want to reverse the spell. What do you think you're doing? You didn't know how to put the spell, and now you're trying to reverse it. Where's the sense? It's like you poisoning someone with the wrong poison and then want to bring an antidote to that. Like, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. And yes, it's poison. When you pray for people under negative intentions, oh, I want this person to like me, so I'm going to pray for them. That's already too late. You failed. That's magic. So are you going to sit there and cry with the failures that you've had? You know how many times we've failed, we didn't even realize it because we were so protected? Why don't you thank your guides for protecting you? Why don't you thank your ancestors for protecting you? Why don't you change to become a better person as per your failures have shown you how much you've strayed off? It's the mindset. It's the intention. It's pure intentions. This whole idea of the way you think of yourself is magic. If you think I'm such a shitty person, I'm this, I'm that, I want to kill myself, I want to do this and that, that's magic. That's also invoking. That's also death spells. Spelling is literally a word. It's spelling. It's you spell words. All English words are Hebrew backwards. They all have their own numerical values, gematria. They all have their own individual meaning, their own individual vibrations. That's why runes are so important, because they bring the value to each singular word. Not even word, but the singular symbol. The symbol is so powerful. And we are using whole words made with all these little symbols that have all these little intricate like dimensions to them. And then you're invoking and evoking that. And then you're surprised. How do you think that you make someone fall in love with you, or you fall in love with someone else? The spell work. That's why we say love spell. You want to break a love spell? That's removing a tie. You're talking about karmic ties and soul ties. They're all the same. Your emotions, that's magic. The waters of your subconscious mind, what do you think that means? It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. It's symbolism. Symbolism is magic. Your body is magic. When you, well, that's why all these men want to hate on women for being beautiful or for being sexy, or for showing their bodies and all that, because it's seduction. That's magic. Because our bodies are magic. And when you're so close to the Most High, of course they're going to be all seduced and all this and that. Especially when they're not protected from other entities, that's when they start thinking of all these negative things to say about you. It's what they feel about themselves. If they just realize that they thought that they were that beautiful, that they thought that they were that beautiful as you are, then they would come to appreciate themselves a little more, if it wasn't for those entities confusing and conflicting them. It's the same way with people doing things for money rather than for self, or for God, even better. When you communicate with someone, you're talking about abundant communication. You're talking about compassionate, loving connection. You're talking about using your discernment, your mind, your powers, your superpowers, your magic. You're using it to communicate with someone. When your intentions are correct, when your intentions are right, when your heart is pure, then of course people are going to see it as magic. They don't understand it. But to those of the dark who are still in the dark, this is a PSA for you. Whatever you're doing, dancing around a fire, wearing white clothes, like, what is your intention for that? You wanted to look witchy, look pretty, or what was the intention for that? And then if you tell me, well, my intentions were good, how about all those other people? Were all their intentions good? You're telling me not one of these people had a near-death experience? When you're in the presence of God, what did you expect? Where do you think your magic is coming from? Why do you think they talk about being spiritually encaged or spiritually blocked or all this and that? You can't do this anymore. You can't do spell work anymore. Who even allows you to do it in the first place? Because we talked about consent. So why do you think that all these negative disasters and all these things and all these people were wiped off? when you don't have the right intentions and you don't have consent to magic, before you can have someone fall for you, or you fall in love with someone, or before you have a real connection with someone, don't you realize that God already set you two to be together? Don't you realize there's things like karmic contracts? Why do you think that is? When you marry someone that ends up hating you, why do you think that is? And when I say, whose magic do you think you're using? We literally have so many different types of magic. Yeah? There's wordplay magic, like rapping or poetry. I mean, we have folk tales, okay, telling stories like this. There's Russian, there's German, like I've said this before, African, all Fomorian. We have ancient magic, Egyptian. When you have hieroglyphics, yeah, they're magical. Yeah. Why do you think you have all these movies about don't open this scroll or don't do this? Because people aren't ready for that. People aren't ready for that. When you open books, that's portal opening. Like, it's all in a matter of perspective. Just because you don't believe doesn't mean that things aren't happening. It's a process. And I really had to stop everything just so that I could come here and say this, because it's a process. There's things like butterfly effects, Mandela effects, illusions, like everything is magic. Everything is sound vibration. Everything is literally one. We put it into categories of because we perceive it differently, but everything is one. Everything. Dark and light, one. It's all one. It's how you perceive it. If you start perceiving magic as dark, you're going to have to tap into your shadow and clear whatever karmic cycle you have there, because you need to realize your own power and potential. Because it's the same people who are going to say that, be like, oh, it's dark, it's dark, it's dark, and then one day something's going to happen. One day they'll be pushed to the edge. One day the devil will really tempt them. It's the same people who say that other people are doing dark, and then one day they'll be like, fuck it, I'll do a death spell because I'm so protected. It's the same fucking people. Just because you're light now, or you think you're light now, doesn't mean that you are. Because you don't know what you're doing. And that's the truth. You will never know what you're doing until you die. That's the whole point of us living in this reality and within our human bodies and having a human experience. Because we are conscious, but so subconsciously aware. Our unconscious taps into such dimensions that we are not capable of visualizing at this current moment, because we have to bring it forward. Either way, don't talk about what you don't know. Don't say something you don't know. Don't use words you're not aware of. Do your research. Find out where these words come from, how they correlate into your life, and change your perspective. Because we have words that are straight up just like Babylonian. Absolutely Babylonian. Dead words. Words that can't come to life because they're not even recycled. They're just letters put together so that they can confuse you, so that they can conflict you. And you don't even know that these words are in your mind because you were young when you learned them. That's why we learn different languages, so that we can find how these things are correlated. Like, most people don't know how much of sister languages Russian and Spanish is. until they remembered that Spain and Russia are this close. What do you think the Holy Roman Empire was all around? The Mongolian Empire came around. Korean was literally made so that people would be able to speak easier or learn language easier because the language was so complicated in kanji. There's a lot of knowledge that people aren't tapped into. And because they're not tapped into this knowledge, they can't tell you what kind of magic you need to use so that you can become successful. They can't tell you. I mean, the number one thing that has been controlling us the most during this generation is hypnosis and MK Ultra. That's Black Mirror magic. That's why we have a show called Black Mirror. We have a show called Love, Death, Robots. Like, we are aware of the things that we need to be able to process and learn. It only takes actually tapping into that energy and realizing your potential. And I'm not going to apologize for my intensity. Life is intense. Magic is intense. Death is intense. Love is intense. Everything is real. I feel like that's the embodiment of Scorpio that comes in, even through me. It's like, you need to remind yourself that, Honey Scorpio said this, I think. Wait, let me try and find her. Silver Eye Rise, 320. Yeah, she said this. She reminded me that, what was it? Almost 80% of the ocean is like hasn't been touched. 80% of our ocean. And people really think that more space has been, explored than ocean. Above the firmament is the ocean again, the darkest ocean of them all. You can't really think that we know everything. We don't. And the same thing applies to magic. We just don't know everything. That's the PSA. You can't be afraid. You can't. It's like you being afraid of your own hands. Did you know that your hands are one of the most powerful parts of your body? Your hands. I mean, that should not be a surprise. Have you seen your hands? Have you seen what they're capable of? Why do you think that when they were hanging people on the cross, right here, we have eyes here. Eyes all over our hands. Wherever we touch, we see. That's why we feel it, taste it. If you knew that your senses of how you touch and feel and how you could taste something, why is it that when we watch other people eat, we feel less hungry? How is that not magic? And people want to be like, this person's an energy vampire. This person's an energy vampire. Keep talking like that and you will become an energy vampire. That's why when I do tarot readings, I try to bring as much of the light possible. I don't mean it for me to be all like too positive or something. I'm dark enough. People don't realize how dark I am. And it's because I literally shine light on all the shadow aspects of myself as much as I can. No matter how dark my story is, I know that there are other stories much darker and much lighter. I can't compare myself with anyone else, and so nobody should. Nobody should be comparing themselves to anyone or anything. Comparison creates defeat, regardless if it's within you or others. Comparison creates defeat. That's magic. And that's manifesting as well. So if you know how to manifest so much negative, then why don't you learn how to manifest positive? And yeah, you're going to have other people take upon your energy. And yeah, you're going to have people taking your positive light. They need it. If they need it, let them have it, because you clearly don't need it because you need more of something else. can't be out here telling people not to do witchcraft. Do whatever the fuck you want, but don't be afraid of the consequences of your actions when you're not prepared. When you mess with the wrong person or you do something to too many people, sex is magic. Love is magic. Everything is magic. And sex is one of the most powerful magics that you can do, or you can have. So appreciate your body parts and your counterpart. Just because someone can speak for themselves and someone can speak about things doesn't mean that they're taking it lightly. Once again, your perception of yourself is how people are going to perceive you. Even if they don't see you the way you think you see yourself at the current moment, they will at some point. Life or death. And yeah, you can tap into people's energy and magic, but if you don't know whose magic you're tapping into or what you're using it for, and their ancestors don't approve of it, or let's say the angels don't approve of it or something like that, you will be cursed. It's karmic. It's cycle. That's why we have curses. Okay? People can't put curses on you. I'm gonna have to say this one more time. People can't put curses on you. You can learn how to break a curse. You can learn how to break a curse. But don't be hating on anyone because you're cursed. Things happen. Shit happens. Life happens. Sometimes energies get to you. Sometimes you get fucked over by the people you love. Sometimes the people you love get fucked over by their people and their demons, and then they attack you sometimes. And there's nothing you can do about things like that. You gotta learn how to fucking break it. How to annihilate the doubt, annihilate the illusion. Realize that the only thing you're burdened by is your own fulfillment and happiness and your own things. Like, you're burdened by you. You are burdening yourself. Especially with magic. It doesn't mean that we all have to be Mormon. Okay, we all have different things here. We don't all have to be monks. And monks still use magic. How do you think that they sit there for hours drawing in the sand? All together for an entire year. They'll do this sand painting. And then they'll all blow off. All this comes from God. All these are gifts from the divine. All of it. Everything. Your hearing, your sound, your ability to create, procreate, your ability to have, your ability to be alive, that's magic. It's the ego that makes you think that you're doing this, but it's not you, and that's why it can get under control of something else. Which is why you don't invoke negative spirits. Like, we don't do this juju, the dark juju. We don't do voodoo because we know what we're tapping into. We know who it is that we know. We know. I don't know if you're watching this and you've been doing this. I don't know if you know, but we know. And the people who already been tapped into it for a long time, they've been living their cycle there for a long time. Okay? They've been trying their best to be able to stop, but they can't because it's like an addiction. It's not because once you try it, you can't stop. No, it's because once you try, you can't stop. That's what it is. Divination is the practice of manipulation. Let me remind y'all, I'm a Cancer. Okay? That's the only way that I manipulate anything, is I manipulate energy. I transmute it. And I had to learn how that works. And it didn't take me this lifetime too. I didn't just read a book real quick. No, I actually went through those lifetimes. I've been killed at witch trials. I was there when Jesus died. I remember this shit. I remember it. Not in this mind. It had to be downloaded into my mind so that I could remember. Just like everybody else has the spirit, you can remember too. You'll remember who you were, what you did, how you fucked up, and how you needed to learn your lesson, and what it is that you need to do in this life. I don't need to tell you that. You can learn that on your own. That's why you're doing what you're doing. It's why you're watching what you're watching. It's why you're where you're at. I can't be over here trying to help you out all the time, but you don't want to help yourself. It's more. It's a more than just reading a couple books. It's actually meditating. It's actually sitting there within your tranquility and peace and bringing that energy to yourself so that you can have that continuous movement forward. It's the flow. Having faith is like, that's a gift. You know how when I was younger, I didn't have any faith. I'm going to confess right here. I didn't have any faith. I did it because I was Muslim growing up. So I was forced to be Muslim growing up, and then when I stopped being Muslim, my mother wanted me to be like have a choice, but she really wanted me to be Jewish, and it was just like a whole. But I have Jewish blood, so it didn't make sense how I was Jewish Muslim, and like it was a lot. That's because of all the illusions behind all that religious factor and all that's like it's all an illusion. I just wanted God. I just wanted to feel, to love, to be. Because I knew it was a gift. Because when you're put down like a fucking dog, and when you're put down like a fucking slave, when you're being used left and right, when you can't make a decision for yourself like most kids can't, and when you're under influence of all these energies and entities around you, and you have to rely on faith, and you don't have it because it hasn't been gifted to you, do you know how that feels? Do you know how it feels to be aware that you're faithless? Because I realized I had the gift of awareness, but I didn't have the gift of faith. That's why I had so many accursed situations and shit that I had to go through, so that I can gain faith, because I needed to deserve it. Not because I was disciplined, not because I decided to do this or that or move into magic. I found out I was a witch. I didn't develop into a witch. Who wants to do that? Why would you want to do that? That doesn't make sense. Clearly, you're not paying attention to what you're watching. If you want to be a witch, that's not how that works. I used to be a witch in my past lives. Why do you think I was born without faith? Why do you think I went through all I went through? If you don't understand, go watch my very first, my videos, 21 years of trauma video. Why do you think I went through all of that? You think I went through that because I touched into dark magic when I was like a kid or something? No! I was born like that. I was born to go through that. I had to go through that. It doesn't mean that those people are not going to serve their justice and karma because they decided to go through, they chose that path when they were born here. As we are light workers, well, I'm a light worker. I'm an earth angel. I know this. I've seen my eyes. I've seen how I look like. Yes, I will always continue to find myself because I will continue to grow and expand. And the same thing applies to anyone that knows divination and magic. When you're reading tarot, That's magic. That's divination. When you're in your spiritual bath, what do you think you're doing? You're doing magic. When you're cooking, you're doing magic. Why do you think the whole thing about women belong in the kitchen and women are witches and all that stuff happened? When you eat, when you pray, no matter what you do. So when you're afraid of it, that's gonna manifest first. Whatever you think is gonna happen because you feel like that's how powerful our minds are. That's why you need to awaken your pineal gland. And that's why I always tell people about the Smurf scene. You know what I mean? About little and chips and shit. I tell people, like, you're stunning yourself. You're stunning yourself. The whole point of healing is realizing your power. The whole point of healing is realizing your potential. How many times do I have to say this? We've all been through shit. We've all been through it. All of us. Every single one of the worst of us and the best of us. We all understand. We know how it is. We get it. Why do you think the angels cry? We get it. That's why we're sent here. So that we can learn the stuff. So that we can understand how it is inside this body. Inside the shell. Of course we want to be formless. It's only natural to want to feel free. It's only natural. Because freedom itself is an illusion. Freedom is an illusion. That's why your determination is important. Your discernment is important. That's why I don't like slow movement. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like when things are slow. I don't like it. I don't have slow energy. See? I don't have slow energy. I am tempered in everything that I do. That does not mean slow. Having patience for something is de-stressing. It's a distressification factor. It's learning discernment, allocation, movement, navigation. The power of peace comes from temperance. And if you really understand what that means, then you understand how powerful the words that I just said are. Strength. You shouldn't be having internal conflict. I should just say this. You should not be doubting yourself or having any sorts of internal conflicts. If you have that, you need to learn how to alchemize that energy. Because if you're doubting something, if you're constantly doubting something, you're doubting yourself. Like, that's the truth. If anything, because you're not doubting me. I know that. Yeah. Empress. The secret's out. I'm the Empress. What? Shocked. I don't get it. It's 'cause, yeah, It's because of this energy of like, people want this playful energy, playfully inspired, play all the time, play. People want to play because you're kids, you're children. You're not my children for sure, but if you want this childlike energy, you need to cleanse yourself and rebuke it. It blows my mind. How do you blame yourself for everything and you don't realize how the world works? How do you do that? How do you take responsibility for something you don't know what it is? So if it's like same thing with people putting me in jail. Like, how do you want me to take accountability and responsibility for something that what did I do? It's the same thing. It's the same thing they did for Jesus. Like, they just blamed him for a whole bunch of shit. What, you want to blame him for all the volcanoes and tornadoes and all the tsunamis too? People just want to blame. That's an entity. Blame is an entity. That's why we say entity attachment. Someone who always blames other people for their issues, that's clearly they've been taken over. That's why we say exorcism. That's why we have that. That's why we have holy water. What do you think holy water is? Magic. Shit is shocking. Now, how do you think electricity works? Do people even remember what ether is anymore? We used to have it in our elemental charts. We used to have it in our textbooks. We would study it in school. I mean, not for our generation, but for the ancient generation, they used to. Oh, don't get me started with, oh yeah, well, things change over time. Yeah, they don't deteriorate. It's not like things break down over time. No, they build up. It's different. The way you see reality it's fluid. Reality is fluid. Time is fluid. It's not linear. You don't look at the world like a flat surface. That's not how it works. Not when we have portals and magic and consciousness. Not when we have alchemy. You don't just read something and then think that that's exactly like someone could be manipulating you. I have a manipulation video about you're being manipulated. You can watch that. When someone wants you to think in their perspective, yeah, that's manipulation. Yeah, it is. But it depends on... Yeah, it is. I'm just gonna keep it at that. Make your own fucking thoughts. One thing I'm gonna say is that, like, when I'm channeling, I channel. When you feel the need to be able to find someone's agenda, then you're not gonna find it. Because you don't realize that you already know someone's agenda based off of just your natural ability to see someone. You know when you see something and it's ugly to you, that means that you need to cleanse that part of yourself. Because that's the only reason it's appearing in front of you. Also, when you're under the line of Persephone, and that means under the line of innocence and stuff like that, when you're under that line, Persephone has her own money, okay? Persephone has her light, like she has her own money. And if you don't understand what I mean by Minte. Minte is the goddess for prosperity and abundance, and she and Persephone are like twin sisters. I don't really know how to explain this for you. You're just gonna have to like study. And when Hades raped her, he was taking her abundance. And that's why I talk about like stealing and theft and all this shit. So yeah. And if you're aware that something has a negative effect and you're not purifying what it is that you're doing, it will bite you in the ass. It will return back to you. The Hierophant is here, so I'm a little less nervous about saying this because I wasn't with it, okay? I wasn't with it. I just can't be with it. I'm sorry. My ancestors did not die so that some, like, white girl with yellow hair and black lipstick can tell you how to use voodoo on TikTok. Like, my ancestors did not die for that. I'm sorry. I just can't, I can't even, like, fathom the fucking absurdity. And it's not even just about, like, pride. I really have to, like, let it go and, like, realize that these people are young. They're young souls. They don't know what they're doing. They will have to pay for what they're doing. And they will serve their own karma. I don't have to call them out like that. I have to literally say that to myself. Because you don't understand how angry I get. And this is me transmuting angry energy from my ancestors. My ancient ancestors. And people don't even know how close I am to my ancestors. I mean, people say ancestors, but I literally still have their blood. I still have the blood. That means that my children and my great-grandchildren and my great-great-grandchildren and furthermore are still going to have that blood within them. So tell me how you're going to put black magic on me and it's going to stop me when you don't even know what the fuck you're doing or where you're from or where I'm from. Sense no day. Sense no day. People want to watch other people suffer. You're never going to get that kind of... You're going to watch yourself suffer in the mirror and that's going to... You can wank off to that. Okay? You're never going to get... Like, people... They're not going to get the fulfillment they need ever. That's the truth. Because the type of fulfillment that they need, they're bloodsuckers. Okay? Vampires, they're bloodsuckers. It starts energetically. It starts out energetically. They want to use you. They want you all the time around them. And then later it's sexual energy because it's stronger. It's more powerful. They want your sex. They want your sexual energy. They'll watch you. They'll do all this. And then later it's no. I need them to stay with me because I can't live without them. It's obsession. It's addiction. It's all that shit. And then what happens? Blood sucking. That's what happens if you haven't realized where I was going with that. They actually do want your blood. And I'm telling you this, like, if I have the scar for a fucking reason, they want your blood. They want it. They want to drink it. They want to eat your flesh. They're cannibals. They want to eat your kids. And I know it, like, might not sound, and it's not fear. It's not fear. Like I said, I had the scar for a fucking reason. And people want to, like, oh, it's sacrifice. Yeah, it's sacrifice. They want to sacrifice you. But they're sacrificing themselves. They don't realize that. Because how would they? How would they realize? Do they have the gift of discernment? That's what makes them so scary. Because they don't have the gift of logical discernment. They don't have the gift of faith. They don't have the gift of love. Imagine not having love. Don't imagine it. But could you imagine? Imagine not having faith. I could not. I used to pray. Even when I was faithless, I used to pray. I used to pray to have faith. You know why I used to pray to have faith? Because I could see the jealousy. I could see the jealousy in my eyes. When I would look at other people praying and they truly believed in it, man, envy really covered the envy, man. I used to do all sorts of things to myself. I used to cut. I used to have panic attacks behind panic attacks behind panic attacks, and I wouldn't even fucking die. I would stop breathing and I wouldn't fucking die. I went into comas. I had nightmares because of envy. And then come to find out it wasn't even my envy, and I was envious of something completely different than everybody else. And then when I realized it, my faith, man. And I will have nobody take that away from me again. That's why this PSA is extremely needed. It's a journey for a reason. And some people will never learn their lessons for lifetimes. And I'm not talking like 50 years. No. I'm talking like thousands of years. That's why we have reincarnation and timelines and dimension jumps. Because some people don't realize that they will have to go back to that flood. Some people will not realize that they will have to go back to that fire. Some people do not realize they will have to go back to those caves. They don't realize it. And when I say that, people are going to have to suffer. And the thing is that the people that are suffering in those fires and all that stuff, now they have to purify that energy over there. Can you imagine how difficult it is to see your entire village die in front of you? You being the only survivor, you being the one who caused it, and then having to purify it and go all happy day and love God and love yourself. What do you think hell is? Is that the plot of Naruto? Son. I'm just saying. Why do you think we have TV shows that remind us of all these days? Because we wouldn't want to go back. We don't want to do that anymore. Because until you realize what kind of direction you're taking when you're not making a decision, because not making a decision is making a decision. I'm making a decision. Not making a decision and keeping it for tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist, Bo Burnham. He said that. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Okay? You make tomorrow exist. If you die today, where's the tomorrow? That's why we say YOLO. If you really think and believe that you live once, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? I'm trying my best. You mean not doing your best? That's why I don't like slow energy. Over lifetimes and living so fucking long, but just so fucking long. I mean, this is my first and last life. What do you mean? When you live so fucking long, at some point you just realize you're either under control or you have the authority of it. Because you will never have that control. You will never be under control of anything. At all. At all. You will never have anything under control. Because what do you do when you plan? You write it down and you're manifesting it. You manifest your movements. Do you think about moving your hand when you do? Or do you do it based off of your own intentions? When you walk and talk, are you doing it because... Why are you doing it? Have you realized that you're doing things without people, like nobody, without action, like without intention? Have you realized you're doing things without intention? Have you realized that you're looking places, doing things, and acting upon things without intention? That's what witches do. You're a wizard, Harry. Congratulations. Welcome to Hogwarts. Things get much bigger, much scarier, much more illuminated when you wake up. That's how spiritual awakenings happen. That's why people get so frazzled when they have a spiritual awakening. It was never easy. Nobody said that going through ascension and spiritual awakenings was gonna be easy, but it's an easy mindset to put yourself into once you realize what it is. It's not evil or dark. It's reality. And if you see reality as evil and dark, then that's exactly what you're gonna get. And then you're really, you know how they say you're gonna see when we get back home. That's the energy. Where is your home? Is your home in heaven? In hell? on Earth, in Alfheim, in the fucking desert? Where are you? When we ask for navigation and purpose and all this stuff like that, you need to realize where you are, and that's why you have to find yourself. That's what it means, and that's why words are magic. Because subconsciously and unconsciously, you know. But if you don't use your third eye and conscious reality to be able to listen here, yeah, use your third eye to listen. I said what I said. If you're not doing that, and your third eye is blocked, and your crown is blocked, then it's the same thing as being mute and deaf. What would you do? And your intuition is a gift. Your nostrils, when you smell, is a gift. That's why we like to smell nice scents and flowers and make all these nice things, because we come to appreciate not only the beauty and the magic in other material things, but we come to appreciate the beauty and the magic within ourselves. That's why we don't overindulge. That's why we don't like greed. Because greed and overindulgence ruins the things that we love. It ruins it. You want too much of it, and now it's all fucked up. That's why we cleanse and purify, and that's why I recommend the Bible. I'm not saying that everything in the Bible is accurate. Even other readers know that the words that we're reading are not completely accurate, because Shakespeare wrote in the Bible. Like, perspective. You don't worship. You just know what worship means. Satan obsessed over God. Take that with a grain of salt. People will always take wisdom and knowledge for it evil. They will always. Now, I didn't say human people, but they will. They will always. People will always be afraid of snakes. They will always be. People will always be afraid of the things they don't understand. My spirit guides don't have to be your spirit guides, but they could be the same. My ancestors don't have to be your ancestors, but they could be the same. I think that's all. Yeah. Ocean of eternal love, healing, creativity, and fertility. Mystery, magic, and excitement. Yeah, sacred journey, life cycles, family, and transformation. Yeah, reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. Harmony, power, confidence, and productivity. Sacred heart, passion, love, spiritual communication. Yeah. So, understanding 5D energy, 6D energy, 7D energy, 8D energy, that's all math. I mean, that should be obvious. That's all math. If you're not aware of the alchemy of math and mathematics, then you probably wouldn't know things like the circle of life, as in like the flower of life, sacred geometry. That's stuff you need to learn. Speaking of that, I need to grab all my books because I don't know where they're at. I had hella books and I lost all of them because people keep stealing my shit. But sacred geometry and all that stuff, that has frequencies. And those frequencies, there's a video of someone using their salt sandbox thing. I don't remember what it's called, but they have this instrument that captures the sound of the vibrational frequency that plants or anything in this world gives off with this little thing, like to make music from it. It's like a music maker. I don't know what it's called, but then he connects it to this black like thing. I forget what it's called. Like I'm forgetting what all these things are called, but it's a little flat black surface, and he puts sand on it and it connects the sound waves, and each thing that he touches, especially plants and fruits and vegetables, they have their own beautiful sound and frequency. And if you change the frequency of a certain sounds, they can make specific shapes, right? And then if you put okay, this one, they don't want me to say that one yet. Okay. Hidden path. See? The marriage of spirit and matter. Like 22. Like, even if you look at this, I didn't even peep that it was 22. Even if you look at this card, right? Well, how do you think that works? Why do you think this image comes out the way it does? The person who drew it. And this is an oil painting, by the way. This is a very, very huge, gorgeous oil painting. That's why it holds so much power. Each independent thing that he used in this to paint this, it has its own power. It's like, while I'm touching it, I'm tapping into that energy. I'm literally tapping into that energy. Do you see the red around me from this filter? Sorry. But basically, I'm literally tapping into that energy, and it's making me like feel the intention of this painting. You understand? So when I'm doing a reading and I'm calling out to a specific energy, that's why the cards come out, because I have mastered my will to manipulate the energy surrounding me, so that when I'm calling out for guidance, they give me the cards that I need based off of my personal energy. So without faith and without God, that wouldn't be possible, because without that, I would have to be under control of something I wouldn't understand, and that's literally what I'm getting, is that I'm protected. That's why I had to make sure I was protected. That's why I had to make sure that I had to break certain curses. That's why I had to make sure that there are specific energies not surrounding me. Ooh, I have to go. But that's what I'm trying to say. If you're not prepared and you start playing with magic and divination, and you don't even remember who you were in your past life, and you don't even remember what kind of journey you're having, of course you're gonna get fucked over and you're gonna go through all this stuff. You know, this lady who was in jail with me, she was worshiping Santa Maria. She had lost all her fucking hair and everything. She was already like, man, you had to see her. She wrote me a little letter pretending as if it was gonna be something good. Like, oh, you were so nice, la la la. I'm like, where are we right now? What dimension is this? Because no matter how much, these people know. They know your light. They can see your light. That's why they want you. Especially when you're kids. When they do this to... Ganesha. Clearing away obstacles, protection, and guidance. When you're... See, like Ganesha. Why do you think the illustration for Ganesha is this? But you look up on the internet different images for Ganesha. Yeah, you can't even see her. Yeah, there she is. Why do you think this is the illustration? What do you think this little sphere is? When you look at the paintings and artworks and argue, why do you think most of the most spiritual, occultic, and most amazing, prolific people on earth have been inventors and painters and musicians? Why do you think that is? You think it's because of just, oh, the painting is pretty? Why do you think things sell for thousands of millions of dollars? Why do you think NFTs are literally thousands of dollars? You invest to reinvest, and you invest in something much higher than what you think. Something is revealed, insight, breakthrough. It's magic. We're going through a golden age of evolution. If people keep thinking that this is the end of the fucking world, it will be. Breaking free from negative attachment, liberation. That's why we're light working. That's why the 144 is here. We like, hell nah. This is the golden age, not no fucking end of the world scenario. That's what the fucking dark entities are here to make you manifest. They want you to go back to where they're from, so that they can eat up some more of your light energy. This is a cycle for a reason. But if you just kept moving forward, they would have to stay in the dark and perish. That's why we do light work. We have the fucking code in our fucking DNA. There's no escaping it. Even if we wanted to do dark shit, we wouldn't be able to. I slapped someone and went to jail for a month. How is that fair? And I was raped and abused. And all those people, what happened to them? Their karma is already there. Their existence is already karma. That's what I'm trying to say. If we all were so pissy about everything that happened to us, we're not going to be able to move forward. If we're all going to be all sad, why would you be sad that you find out that you have magic? How is that even like, how is it that you find out you have the gift of divination and then you use it for negative things as if you don't know who gave it to you? How is that possible? Why do you think Jesus was here? Yeah, moonlight goddess, repressed emotions, healing and reflection. Yeah, I'm healing too. As we heal, as we show our true colors. That's what I'm doing, showing my true colors. Because if it wasn't for someone like me to call out specific things, to survive what I survived, and call it out, people would be lost. You know how many people I talk to in the real world? You know how many people I've talked to in the real world who've been through the same things? You understand how many animals I've spoken to that tell me what they're going through? I'm like a fucking animal therapist here. Dr. Dolittle energy. Who else is there to know what you know but you? You have a specific amount of information in a specific pattern, and you recognize those patterns for a reason. That's your power. Pattern recognition is a fucking superpower. You'd be surprised how many people have no fucking idea how patterns work. And guess what patterns are? Maths, aka alchemy. So there you go. You're just doing alchemy without realizing it. Goddess of creation, creativity, and wholeness. Every time you say something, hopefully it'll be good, but better if it had a good intention behind it. That way you can have a stable foundation. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I gotta make some food. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share, whatever you want. You're good. Alright. Bye-bye. How do you stop this again? Alright.